Oh man, here we are.
Here we are.
Oh my god, I can't see your face though because of this thing. We gotta be like, yo,
Incognito joint. There you go.
what's up though?
How are you?
I'm pretty good, man. How you doing?
Wonderful. Tired, but I'm good.
Dude, I heard that. I'm tired as a motherfucker.
Yeah. And it's cold in DC.
I know. Spring faking like shit.
Yeah.
Terrible. So what's up, y'all? This is a special edition of Choppin' It Up. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so thanks for coming by. It's always nice to see your face.
Ah.
Hey.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Of course, of course. You guys have been grinding like a mug per usual. Always. It's okay. We could just tell them what do we need to do. With
We
the mic?
good? It's good?
Well, that's
Oh,
gonna.
the other side. The other side.
Oh, there we go. Bam.
Oh, shit. Here we go. Okay. I'm
Alright.
good.
Look at that. Anything else from the tech crew? How do I look, guys?
Wonderful.
Yeah, Kyle can stay. So yeah, man. So awesome to see you here. Big show on Sunday.
Yeah, big one for us. It's our first. We did 930 Club a couple weeks ago, which was fucking amazing. We never done that before. But this one is like us. This is our show as Songbird. It's like a big one for us. We picked Songbird very specifically. We wanted to make it feel like an old school Footwerk show and kind of
Yeah.
sell it out and get reckless in there.
Nice. I mean, not too reckless.
No, as
Management.
reckless as we possibly can.
Without getting
Yeah,
fined.
still being able to come back. you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice line to just like push it over there. But for those of you that don't know, Footwork is a band out of Washington. Well, out of the DMV, technically, right?
I mean, I'm from England, so I don't really count. But
Yeah.
like Melissa, our singer, is from Northwest. We got a drummer from Baltimore. Eric's from Arlington, so we're a little bit
It's a
everywhere.
true DMV band for sure. Met on Craigslist.
Strange as shit.
Yeah,
They
not-
took down Casual Encounters, actually.
Oh,
I mean, that's not like the section that we met on. But
I was
that
about to say, hold up, that was
that
about
was-
to be my joke.
Yeah, no, that's the name of our first album was Casual Encounters. And someone hit me the other day and we're like, "Yo, they took down Casual Encounters." Like, bruh, how do you know that? First of all, like,
Yeah,
what dark
yeah.
corner of the internet were you in?
What's going on?
Yeah.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
So how would you guys describe your how do you describe your band?
Man, I don't know. It's fun. I feel like if you ask any musician what kind of music do you play, they give you a really overcomplicated answer. I think it's pop music. Like, I grew up hip hop, like beats and rhymes. Melissa's from the church, so we have a little bit of everything. I consider it pop music. If you come up with something better, please tell me what it is.
Right on, right on. I mean, yeah, pop is I guess a pretty broad stroke for sure.
Well, usually when people say pop, I'm like, I don't like that. But I can't, like, if you call it hip hop, it's not really hip hop. It's you know.
Right. Well, and it's a little bit of everything because you got some go-go vibes in there, you got some like rock and roll in there, you got a little
Yeah.
bit of everything in there. So yeah, I guess pop kind of encompasses all of that. You know.
It sucks, but it's the best we've come up with so far. So.
Well, you know what? Pop records sell, so you know if you're trying to be a paid musician, it's not a bad genre to
I
be
would
in.
like a pop paycheck. That's for sure.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
for sure.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Right on, man. So this show on Sunday at Songbird. Shout out to Chadwick and everybody over
Yeah,
there at
big ups
Songbird.
Chad, man.
Well, and everybody at Songbird. Really, they're all pretty awesome over there.
Yeah.
So it's exciting because this is your big first Live Nation show. Is this correct?
Yeah, we've played a bunch of Live Nation shows before, but this is like the first, Footwork headline Live Nation show. So
Super exciting, man.
Yeah.
How did you guys get that? Is that something that like you reached out for, or did they reach out to you? Like how did
it's
that happen?
weird, man. This whole last 6 months has been really weird. Like 930 is a great example. We've been trying to get in 930 for like
Your
6,
whole
7
lives.
years. Yeah, since the first time I ever went to 930 as a kid. But like actively playing music and trying to get in there forever, sending a million emails trying to get on shows, and it just never happened. And then we didn't hit them up, and we just got an email like, "Hey, Jizza and Talib and the Soul Rebels are coming. You want to play with them?" I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Hell yeah.
And then the same thing happened with the Live Nation show. Same thing happened with the Retrograde tour. Like we just been working, and then things kind of just happened. which
Dope. Who booked you at 930 Club? Who's
was-
it?
all good. Shout out to Mook and everybody at All Good.
Ah, word.
So we did the anthem with them in December with Soja.
With Soja, yeah.
And we've done a ton of All Good shows over the years. They've always been cool to us, but never at 930.
Right.
And I was more excited about 930 than the anthem or anywhere else we've played.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure. I mean, no disrespect to Anthem, but 930 is like a staple for sure.
yeah. If you grew up here, that's the one.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
It was dope.
Crazy. All Good. Man, I got some memories from All Good Festival.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And I got some things I totally forgot too. Let me tell you.
If you had a good time at All Good, you shouldn't remember
you
the
only remember like
majority of it.
40%.
Getting there and then leaving should be pretty much all you remember.
Man, what a legendary spot when it was at
The mountain hilltop. I don't know what the hell it's
no,
called.
before that, when it was in Maryland in like Durwood or whatever the fuck. Oh, where was it? It was a legendary venue. Like James Brown played there back in the day.
I know I have like a ton of hippie friends that go to all those festivals and always talk to me about it. I'm like, dude, I don't remember. Like, I remember going, but I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm letting my Wookiee friends down right now by not remembering the name of this venue.
You're going to get a text message that you're kicked out of the commune.
Yeah.
You can't
like,
come to the drum circle anymore.
My coconut oil distribution has been wiped out. Yeah. No. Damn it. It's going to come to me. It's really bothering me.
Somebody text me. Miles, if you're watching this.
That's right. You guys know the venue. It's in Maryland. It was there forever. And then it moved to Trip and Emily's farm and like Sunshine Daydream and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was but before it moved.
Someone text me and tell me what the name of it is.
That's right. Maybe somebody watching. Let me pull up our thing and see if anybody's actually tuned in. Maybe they'll answer us. But yeah, man, I had good times. I remember one of my best friends. His name is Enes, and he is Palestinian. And growing up, you know, his name is Enes. It's Anas. So of course, like
rough.
Yeah, man. It's kind of hard to go through high school with a name like that, you know. And people were kind of dicks. So like early on, he like adopted the name Mike. And I just always thought it was crazy. I'd go to his house and his parents would be speaking to him, and then like, you know, in Arabic, and then it'd be like, Mike. And I'm like, this is like, even your own parents call you Mike.
They had to get rid of that shit all the way. You can't have no trace
not
of
even
Ennis.
at home, right? Yeah. And so it was kind of crazy. So I remember one year at All Good, you know, I was like, your name is Ennis, like, not Mike. And he was like, my name is Ennis. I'm not Mike. And like from that day forward, he's like, no, you will learn my fucking name. It's not that hard.
He owned it.
We're 25 for fuck's sake. Yeah. Like, you know, we get the joke, but it was never that funny. Yeah. So I'll always have fond memories of that place because
I saw some interesting shit there. The last year I went, I had a friend who just got all, you know, spun out and like took his shoes off and like just ran into a crowd of people, and we didn't see him for the rest of the time we were there.
Oh man!
And I didn't think he was coming back. I thought he was gonna think he was like a glass of orange juice or something.
Is he all right?
He's cool. I saw him like a couple months ago. He was like, yeah, everything's fine.
Everything. That's crazy. Oh man, that's crazy, dude. All Good. Tim Walther still running that?
Mm-hmm.
Man, yeah, that's like serious history right there for One Love too. I've never done events directly with Tim Walther, but Soja was the first band One Love ever booked.
Fam and Lamb,
back
the
in
homies.
The day. Yeah, I met him at State of the Union.
Oh shit.
Going to reggae shows, you know, back in the days.
Yeah.
Dating this dude from Trinidad. And he was like, you should throw parties, reggae shows.
And that was it. And now we're here at One Love Massive.
Isn't that crazy? All you got to do is date somebody from Trinidad, and you too can.
Yeah. So if there's any Trinidadian lady, no, that's not my girlfriend. Right. I'll go crazy if I say that.
Yeah, no. Let's not do that.
She's Cuban. It's like close enough.
Close enough. I don't think so, Kyle. I'm no expert in geography, but I'm pretty sure the answer is no. But man, these headphones are so much. But man, yeah, Soja was the first band I ever booked. Man, it's so crazy to like.
That's wild.
DC history, you know, like.
Yeah.
DC history is so real.
Yeah, especially, I mean, for me too. Like, I remember going to see them at 9:30 when I was like in like 8th grade or something.
Oh my god!
And like that was a thing, you know what I mean? Especially Virginia kids, like that was a thing.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, I remember like when Soja first started, they were just like a bunch of like white boys on mopeds. They were like a moped gang in like South Arlington and stuff.
I can see that.
And then they just like they stayed on it, and they just stayed working and stayed grinding, and it's crazy to see them all grown up now.
Yeah, fuck yeah, they're at the Grammys, dude. Like the last 2 years in a row.
So nuts, man. Like Kenya, like Ken. I don't know if he goes by Kenya anymore.
Nah,
maybe
Kenny Bongos, that's the homie,
Kenny
man.
Bongos, yeah, man. Such love for that dude.
They like, you know, people can say what they want, but like they are a really good example of someone who just grinded it the fuck out, like
straight up
years in a van.
And they definitely got a lot of shit, you know. I mean, plenty of people were like, "Yo, white boys from Virginia singing reggae." Like, I'm sure they got like plenty of shit, and probably still do.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't stop them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're true to it. They've stayed true to it for fuck. Like, I mean, the first time I booked them was 2001.
God damn.
So they've been playing shows for 17 years, dude.
Yeah.
And I was not the first person to book them. They were just the first act I ever booked.
Yeah.
So like that's insanity. And it's basically the same like original lineup too. It's not even like they shuffled through a grip of different dudes.
No.
It's like, you know, and I think that and like they still like well, I don't know anymore, but like they had a house together up until recently, and I'm like,
yeah,
that's mad love, man. That's like squad goals for real.
Yeah, we've been like me. Footwerk has been in the van for like 2 weeks, and like I love that's family. You know what I mean? Like I love everybody in Footwerk, but I can't live with these motherfuckers. Like, savagery. There's no way,
dude. Tell me about it. I know. Yeah, I had that bus for a little while.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We lived on the bus. And let me tell you, that'll bond some people. I look at Bunny because Bunny was on the bus with us. Those were good times. I miss the bus, man.
Yeah. Some days it's like, man, I love this, and some days it's like, if you don't get the fuck out of my face, like,
I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Great. So let's talk about that. Actually, Nick, if you want to pull up that graphic, you're on a how many cities are you doing right now?
I think there's like 15 or 16. There's a couple others that aren't on there yet because I was at South by Southwest when all of them got announced, and that's when the flyer came out, and then a couple more trickled in after that. So
dope, man. That's pretty cool. And how did that whole tour come about? Who's that with?
It's Alive Agency. Shout out Alive. That's Black Alley, Born Eyes on Alive. Who else? Tabby Benet. There's a bunch of DC heads on there. So we were with Empire in LA, and then we came over to Alive, which is like DC dude.
Which is just so awesome, man. Shout out to anybody in DC doing anything for the culture, man. That's super awesome. What's their website? What's their handle? Do you know?
At Alive Agency.
Alive Agency.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alive Agency.
And it's dope too when you run across other people from like DC in different cities, and it's just like it's love. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't even matter if we kick it when we're in DC or like we know each other when I meet you in like New York or Austin or some shit.
Yeah, you're like, what's up, man? What's up, brothers?
Yeah, we went to the DC thing down in Austin with like Nucci, Manny Wells, all these people who like, you know, are dope. And it was really, really love. Like, it was cool. Went out to dinner with other people from around here and really, like, chopped it up. It was hype.
So, the South by Southwest, was that through WeDC or anything, or that was you guys?
That was us. We, like, our manager's from or lived in Austin for a long time. So, we, like, just went down there.
Dude, I love Austin. I got a tattoo. ATX.
Oh, shit.
Life. Yeah.
Dude, I got family lived down there. I'd only been down there, like, once. And I had a fucking ball. It's like, I did not want to leave.
Yeah.
And it was like overstimulation because all the South by stuff was going on, and I was like, I want to kick it for like an extra week, but we had to get back and leave. So.
Yeah, Austin is cool. I really like it. It inspired a lot of what One Love does, honestly, because, you know, you go to South by, and if there's like a patch of grass, there's like a bluegrass band playing on it. Like they use every resource, every bit of land, you know, like. Out bars that don't even have roofs. Like they like gutted a building and they're like, well, just build a stage with a cover and a bar with a cover. Yeah. Don't even put a roof on the building. And that's like one of the best venues on 6th Street right there. It doesn't have a fucking roof. You know what I mean?
The hustle was remarkable of like
bananas.
People just anything. Give me anything. Give me something to fucking tap on and I'm going to have a show right here and like you're going to listen and like I'm going to plug it super, super hard. So
and like, cool. You know, busk as hard as you can until the like cops show up and like tell you to move and you're like, all right. You know?
Dude, I saw a drummer for literally 5 days. He just held down this one street corner and I feel like he played the same groove all 5 days. Every time I walk past that corner, it's like, I was like, damn, bro. Like maybe it's the only beat he knows, or maybe he's just feeling that shit.
Right,
you know?
right. Maybe he ate some of that acid that your buddy got and stuck in an infinite jam.
It's very possible.
That's some Frank Zappa shit right there, for real, man. So what's been tell me something that you like. What's something that you've learned in the last year? Being a touring musician, being a, you know, front man, lead man, like, you know, all the growth that you've experienced in the last year. So, like, what's the biggest takeaway you've got from all that?
Man, that's a tough one. It's just about the music. It's about the music and the content. Like, you can you know, it sucks. There's a lot of bands that are kind of get to the level that we're at, and then they'll just do it to death. You know what I mean? Because it's like all you ever wanted to do. So you've been working all these years to like get on the road and play. And so then you finally get it, and it's like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And like, I feel like I could pop my head up in 5 years and be in the exact same spot of like just playing the shit out of these shows. And that's great. But like, if I don't give people something that they want to listen to and tell their friends about it and like go home with, then it doesn't matter that I can, you know, fuck up a live show and make people have fun. So it's about like the music and the
Right.
content. For me, anyway, it's like,
Yeah.
and it's also I'm getting older, so it's like I want to make shit. You know what I mean? That
No
people
doubt. No
People
doubt.
like, yo, have you fucking heard this? Not like, have you been to a Footwork show, but have you heard this song?
Right. Have you heard this? It's in the rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt, man. I feel like you progressed a lot as an artist, you know, even just recently. You know, I can see from like the content you guys are putting out and like definitely really serious about your shit. Not that you weren't before, but you can see that progression, you know.
It's been different. And it's like love and because we've been doing a bunch of different shit. You know, like people know if you know Footwork from back in the day, it's like rapping and then it's like this big voice and it's turned the fuck up and like I started playing guitar, started singing, started doing a lot of other stuff and for me that's just satisfying to me. Like I know I can rap, I know I can make beats. I've been doing that since I was like, you know, 12, 13 years old. So for me this side of things is like exciting to me cuz you know, I don't really know how to do it and I'm not like amazing at it, so it's exciting for me to like want to do different shit. And
right on.
so
Are you in the studio a lot? You spending a lot of time
yeah.
writing and composing and
Yeah, I'm a nerd. Like if we're not playing a show, I am 100% sitting in front of a computer like working on music.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So is music your full-time gig?
Yeah.
Damn, son.
Well, damn son, but you know, my bills are still like
Yeah.
my bills are like, damn son, like
Yeah, like what about us?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I know those bills
yeah.
for sure.
Uh,
How long have you been a full-time musician?
man, it's like a probably like only like 6 months, honestly. Like, and I still had like other little like studio work I would do.
For
Shout out to
sure.
Blue Room in Herndon, and I still do stuff like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Footwork could pay the bills, and I could, but I probably have to do a lot of shit I don't want to do.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean?
I mean, hey, like even the most legendary musicians, like if you look at like Led Zeppelin and John Bonham and John Paul Jones, like John Paul Jones has studio credits on like damn near everything that came out of the UK for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Like that dude was like a studio musician. Like a lot of the records that we grew up and listening to or love like had the same bass player, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
or the same drummer. Like
What's the show? Have you seen the documentary?
yes.
About like the guys who just played
Yes.
every fucking thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
whole bunch of white dudes cranking out like Motown and shit like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, what a
Our drummer talks about it literally every time I see him. He's like, "Have you seen this?" I'm like, "Yeah, we just talked about it. You're stoned." Like,
I mean, but you know, studio musicians, that's a thing, right? Like if you need a guy and you know this guy's gonna show up and kill it, then like you're gonna hire him every time, you know? But
Yeah.
like it doesn't like slight John Paul Jones' career in Led Zeppelin. It's just he made other money being musicians for, you know,
yeah, you gotta do what you
other
gotta
people.
do. And
Yeah.
for me, it's like I feel like if I was a player, like if I was a drummer or a bass player or something, then it would not that it would be easier, but it's just different, right? Like I can go
Totally.
do cover gigs, I can go
Right.
sit in and do stuff and make money. But for me, I can't. Like I can, you know, I can do studio stuff. I
Yeah.
can record your shit. Like
Do you do actual engineering and stuff like that too? Like,
yeah,
is that just from like, did you learn how to do that? Like, go to school for that, or is you just learned from like being involved in your own productions?
I did go to school, but I didn't learn a lot in school. Like I, when I was 17, I got a scholarship to go to the Paul McCartney School of Music in
Oh
England.
shit! Well, that sounds fancy as fuck.
It's fancy, but it was like I was a fuck up. I was a fuck up. So I got to like move to England when I was 17, and like you know I was used to being an American high school kid at that point. I was like all the way Americanized, so
Right.
it's like I can go out, I can drink. So I just partied for a couple years, but I learned like the engineering side of stuff through like just necessity. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't afford studio time, so I'm gonna learn how to work Pro Tools. And
For sure.
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You know, how long were you in that school for?
2 years. 2 years. The coolest part about that school is Paul McCartney comes once a year and wears a full suit and like tennis shoes and gives a songwriting workshop. So you sit down in this auditorium and he just talks to you about like writing songs. And he's all like old and fancy, but also very hip.
Right. Like
and
Izzy.
yeah.
My friend Izzy. But yeah,
I don't know. Is he?
he's like our mentor. And he's like done a bunch of shit. He like created the HF Festival back in the day. He owns Up Against the Wall. Like he's like our Russell Simmons. You know what I'm saying? Like
Shout
locally.
out HF Festival. I had a ball.
Dude, he's like seriously. Like I've looked up to the person who did all that for a long time before I ever actually got to meet him. I was like, holy shit, you know?
I want to meet this dude. I remember going to the buzz tent and like rolling face for the first time ever at HF Festival.
Dude, yeah, HF Festival is fond memories for a lot of people. And to me, it's like the pillar of like of inspiration. It's like, you know, if HF Festival got, you know, 100,000 people 2 days in a row in 1999, then imagine like, and that was with like Green Day, and I mean it was a pretty like narrow scope. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the most diverse festival.
For sure.
You know, it wasn't. But I mean, it was indicative of like what was going on in that era. You know. Yeah. And it's super cool. He got to start because he was throwing parties in the back of Circuit City parking lots, like renegade parties, and they got so big that eventually like Virginia police were like, you can't do that anymore. And that's how like
Circuit City, that's a
flashback
as well. That's fucking
I know.
wild.
He was a straight gangster, dude. But he comes to all of our staff meetings and shows us so much love, and like he's like mentoring us and stuff. And he comes and he always has like super cool shoes on. You know what I mean? You're like he's always like that guy, you know what I mean? He just looks, you know.
That's wild.
Looks cool, you know.
That's how this guy like Paul McCartney felt like somebody's cool uncle, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
but he like really wanted to be like wanted to make sure you saw his tennis shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like his suit was all business, but these shoes would be fly as shit.
He probably like kept them like at the school to put them on just for like,
for sure. He took his dress shoes off as he got on stage.
Like Mr. Rogers and shit. Straight up. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So you grew up in England as well? You said you went back to England at 17 though for the school. So when did you move here?
I was like 10 when I came here I moved to Virginia when I was like 10.
What
I went to I got in a lot of trouble. So I went to 5 different high schools. I was a fuck up, but I went to 5 different high schools and ended up graduating from Marshall in Falls Church.
Oh shit, right down the street from me. Yeah. I graduated from George Mason.
So we're like, are we rivals? I don't know if we're rivals.
But neither one of us did anything good enough to rival the other one.
Like I wasn't there enough at all.
Yeah, I still spent a lot of time in the guidance counselor's office for sure.
Yeah. How do you feel? Why do you feel like that? Is everything okay?
No, it's not. I'm on acid. That's real. But totally. Shout out to George Mason High School. Yeah. What? Crazy. Yeah. Crazy. So, well, I'm excited about this show on Sunday. I'm pumped that you guys are like headlining that shit, and with Live Nation, that's really awesome. You know, Live Nation is definitely like the pinnacle of things, you know, as a touring musician and stuff like that.
It's the mafia.
I mean, it's a little intimidating, and I'm sure I could find some things to say about Live Nation that would not be super positive.
Wait till after Sunday.
But but at the end of the day, man, like they're doing good things and they're getting a lot of artist work. So it's like, you know what, man, like everything. When you're not the one doing shit, it's really easy to be a critic and be like, they should do this and they should do that. And then, like, you run your own shit, and you're like, everyone shut the fuck up and stop telling me how to do my shit. Because, like, nothing is as black and white as it seems, right? Like,
it's business. It's the same with the music shit. Like, people hit me up and, like, have these wonderful ideas, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds great, bro. But, like, the actual nuts and bolts of what it takes to execute.
To do that.
Like, anybody who makes it to a certain level in music, like, I respect you and have love. Whether I like your shit or not, just because I know kind of how hard it is to even think about getting there. You know what I mean? Just to finish content and to get any kind of a level is difficult. So
for sure, man.
And I'm sure on the business end of things for them, it's like it's a business that makes money off of putting people in rooms.
Period. And they got to maximize and they got to make their money. And, you know, it's like for every show that they crush it on, there's like shows that people don't see that they lose millions of dollars on, right? So it's like
concert promotion has got to be one. Like, I'm sure it's super lucrative, but to me, it just seems like an anxiety attack, like, every day.
Every minute of every day. I mean, just having that many people's lives in your hands. I mean, seriously, especially now, like, not to, like, you know, but with this, like, you know, Las Vegas shooter. I mean, like, shit's, like, it's taken a whole different responsibility and seriousness and depth to that shit, because it's like, fuck, man, you know, like,
that's just heavy when you think
super
about
heavy, man.
Like the Paris shit that happened. I was talking to Trevor, and Trevor's like my homie from Soja, and he was telling me about that place that got shot up, and the people that died were like the engineers when they went through there the year before.
Right.
And he was like talking to me about it, and I was like, it doesn't cross my head because like we're nowhere near on that level, but like, dude, that's fucked.
super fucked. And like Las Vegas, that guy just opening up on the whole crowd of people. I mean, it definitely makes me wonder, like, if that's gonna change things. You know, if that's gonna change the industry, if that's gonna change festivals.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard for it to not change those things, but you know, but then music becomes even more like on the path of resistance, right? Because like, you know, every great revolution, every war started with the drums. You know, it started with a chant. It started with like a, you know, some
Is
music.
that a T-shirt?
It should be.
Every great war started with the drums.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it's true. You know what I'm saying? Like when we were in like caves or when we're like battling on the, you know, battlegrounds for like basic shit. Like, you know, we, like every you know army has, you know, a drum line.
Yeah,
You know, like it's just so like tribal and instinctive inside of us, music. And so it's interesting to see, you know, like especially, you know, the civil rights movement and like the hippie era. A lot of like really, you know. Like, did you ever watch that documentary, Searching for Sugarman?
No.
Oh, you gotta watch it, man. It's super awesome. It's about this guy.
Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix, and it's about this guy, Sixto Rodriguez, and he's a musician, and he made a couple albums in like the '60s, like before Bob Dylan, and they didn't do so great here, but one of them got extremely popular in South Africa, and it's crazy because you know, it was in everyone's households, and it was using all this language that nobody had heard, like, you know, toppling the authorities, and like smoking causes cancer, and like all these like words that like people just like didn't talk about in the '60s. I mean, people were getting murked for being like communists and shit, in, like the McCarthy era. So it was like really revolutionary shit what he was saying, and basically, long story short, these guys in South Africa are like looking at this album cover, and they're like, who is this guy? You know, like everyone in South Africa like listens to it, but like no one knows who it is. It's like this real like random picture of him with like sunglasses on. So they start doing research like pre the internet and like track this guy down. And they travel all over the world, and they end up finding him in Detroit. And it's like all this urban legend that he died. Like there's legends that he shot himself on stage. There's a legend that he set himself on fire at his last show. There's like all these things.
What?
None of them are true. They find the guy. And he's been in Detroit the whole time, living like someone experiencing homelessness, you know?
Yeah.
Having nothing, walking around. Like a lot of his shows, he would play like face with his back facing the audience, you know?
That's when you know you're the shit, when you can do that. Just like,
Like, what?
Yeah.
But like such a true artist, right? And they trace this whole thing back where it's like, long story short, like someone in Motown totally fucked him over. But how it started is... he recorded those albums. Some girl from Detroit had a boyfriend in South Africa and brought some records on a summer vacation to South Africa. The album was that good that a couple copies got made, and it became like an underground, like, pass it to people.
Yeah, that's dope.
This is at a time when, like, South Africa was locked down because of apartheid. Nothing was getting in, nothing was getting out. The media was locked. Nobody knew how bad it was in there, and people inside of there had no idea how good it was other places or how bad it was there, right?
Yeah.
Shit was super fucked up. And here comes Sixto Rodriguez singing about the anti-establishment blues, right? He literally, like, started a fucking revolution.
Damn.
You know?
That's wild. That's wild as shit.
It's so wild. I watch that documentary like once a year just to like remind myself.
Just to get it right. But that's kind of what I was saying about like it being about the content. Because even today, like there's just a massive just shit out there. Everything's so accessible and everyone's attention span's so short. But if your shit is dope and it like resonates with people,
it'll resonate.
They're going to pass that shit off to their friends. And like I do it. I got like 3 or 4 of my friends that keep me like constantly like sending me shit, and I'm just like, damn, how do I not know about this?
Yeah, you gotta send me some of that too, because I live in a bubble, man. I definitely listen to the same shit over and over again. It's bad.
We started doing Spotify playlists like as a band. We're gonna release them as like, hey, this is what Kyle's listening to. Hey, this is what Teddy's listening to.
That's awesome.
But we all sit in the van with each other for so long that our playlists were like.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Teddy like, dude, we have 8 of the same songs on here. Like, we gotta switch it up a little bit.
That's too funny. But yeah, man, it's so important. Like, you never know like what your music is gonna do, you know? And it's so crazy because they find the guy and they're like, did you know that you went like triple platinum
in South Africa?
And he was like, no, I had no idea. So then they track down the Motown guy and he like basically denies it. And he had like a whole distribution deal. He got none of that money. And then they find him, they bring him to South Africa, they do a reunion tour. It's like a fucking stadium full of people singing. He gets back up there, he gets on the guitar and delivers this show that could have been 20 years earlier. Whole stadium singing along with him.
That's beautiful.
Makes a whole bunch of money, gives it all away, goes back to living like a person experiencing homelessness again. He's probably somewhere in Detroit right now. Like
some people are just artsy like that, and like it's just in them. I don't know that I'm that person that,
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm that humble either. But it's pretty crazy. So like, and I talk to artists about this. Like, being an artist is like a blessing and a curse. It's a double-edged sword. Like, what you have inside of you, like, might change the fucking world. And like, you can't let your ego or like your insecurity or any of that shit like get in the way of that. Because like, what if Bob Marley was like so wrapped up in himself that he couldn't get on stage and he never performed? What? Can you imagine the void that would have been left if Bob Marley had not like? I mean, One Love Massive wouldn't exist. Yeah. I wouldn't be alive. You know what I mean? Not that Bob Marley's my dad, but I like to think that sometimes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But my mom wasn't that cool ever. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like imagine if Rodriguez had like not made that album, then like that album helped like break apartheid. Like that's insanity. You know what I mean? And it's so important. It's like this gift inside of you that, I mean, you could save people's lives. You probably already have saved someone's life with a lyric. Like, you just never know. Like, you might just say that thing at that exact moment that someone needs to hear, you know?
People have, people have said shit to me before, and it's never like, oh, my God, you guys are amazing. Like, that's just cool. But, like, if you're drunk and you had a good time tonight, you're going to say that. But people that have come up specifically or, like, send me text messages like, this person just died in my life, and this thing made me feel good. It was like, damn. Like, that's pretty fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like, that's just there's a chick. Do you know Madam Gandhi? I don't want to fuck.
Yeah.
I just watched, I follow her on Instagram, and she's always doing dope shit. And she gives, like, these TED Talky kind of things. Yeah. And she says something about some wise dude teaching her about, like, this is your gift, and it's your job to give it no matter what. And it was like, that's cool. I don't know if it's a gift or not, but, like, whether I like it or not, I can't stop making music. So it's important for me to just do it and let it go.
It's a gift and a curse. I really believe that because, I mean, I can't even imagine being a musician. Like, the guts it takes to stand up and, like, put your shit out there. You know what I mean? Like,
that doesn't, but you know what freaks me the fuck out is karaoke. Never done karaoke. My girl's always trying to get me to do it. I'm like, baby, like, I am fucking petrified of karaoke. Like, I've been on stage in front of thousands of people. Good with it. Take me to a bar and ask me to do karaoke, and I'll freak the fuck out. Like,
don't ever do it, man.
Full anxiety.
You're better
attack.
than karaoke.
But
man.
I want to do it. Like, I would love to do like
so
Alanis
funny.
Morissette and just wail that shit full.
You want to know, man. You want to know. Like, get it in.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. Now I'm like on a mission to like get you to do karaoke.
It'd be fun. I feel like it'd be fun. I feel like it'd be a good time.
You just gotta, that's such a weird thing that like you have no problem getting on stage.
Yeah.
You have great stage presence too. Like I always enjoy like you seem super comfortable on stage and you interact with the audience. Like it's very fluid, very good.
That's my job is to jump around and her job is to like sing.
Smooth it out.
Yeah, smooth it out.
Yeah. Man, I love Melissa.
Yeah, that's my girl.
She's so dope. One of my favorite memories is like Broccoli City. I'm Not Over You.
Yeah.
Just Paul, me, on the side of the stage.
Shout out to Just Paul. That's my man too.
Yeah, man. It's crazy, It's such a small world we all live in. Like it really, really is. Like who would have thought the people like influencing me to start One Love Massive, 18 years later, like same person that you talked to earlier today.
Yeah. DC's, but every city's like that. Whenever I go somewhere new and talk to people, they're like, oh, I know this person, and it just happens. It's like weird.
Yeah.
It's the Kevin Bacon thing, but not with Kevin Bacon.
For real. Yeah, people are like, Molly, how do you know so many people? I'm like, I'm just old as fuck, man. It's really hard.
I've just been around.
I've just been around the block like 100 fucking times, you know what I mean? But 100 more coming around the bend too, you know what I mean? Ain't going nowhere.
Nah, and One Love is all the way popping. I don't know if you guys can see or you guys can see me, but it's fucking beautiful in here, and they've done tons of cool shit. And
thanks, man. It's been exciting. It's been quite the progression. Remember when you were in here and it was like all white walls and
It was still dope then. The fact that you have a building like where this building is mind blowing to me. And I remember like watching back when I had Facebook, I would see like you post about it. I'm like, God, that's gonna be fucking sick. Then it was sick, and now it's even sicker. And it's like wherever I'm at, I'll always see something on my timeline of like One Love. It's like fuck, like they're really doing this shit like right at home.
Man.
Like,
Yeah, we really are. It's a lot of work, but man, we love it. We spend a lot of time together, us and the crew. Shout out to Nick and Mike. What up, what up? Yeah. What is that? Oh, wrapping it up? You told me to wrap it up? Oh, man, I'm never shouting them out again. That was backfired terribly.
Yeah, you guys are great. Yeah, if you could just
not talk anymore, that would be great. All right, well, I guess we got to wrap it up. It is 5 o'clock. I know you got someplace to be.
I do.
But let's talk about, everybody, what I really want to drive home is the show on Sunday. So, music business for people who enjoy it is just something that you show up and enjoy. As someone in the industry, it's something that you painfully drag your ass through day by day. And the number one thing that goes a long way is support, of course. And if you're planning on going to the show, which why wouldn't you? If you're planning on coming to hang out with One Love and Footwerk and the whole crew at Songbird on Sunday, please buy your ticket right now. Like, don't wait. Don't wait till Sunday. Don't pay at the door. Go online and buy your ticket right now. And why do you ask? Because Live Nation looks at that shit. You know what I mean? Straight up. They're going to look at that. They're going to see how many tickets were bought in advance, what are calculated at the door. But, in this big corporate world, they really only care about the pre-sales. So
I'll be all the way transparent with people. Anyone who's watching, I love to tell people this because it's the truth, right? Like, we played, last show we did in D.C. was at Gypsy Sally's, and we sold it out as a walk-up, right? So on the day of, everyone was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to go. We had a great time. It was slammed in there. But it doesn't count the same way in their systems. So we did Songbird because it's much, much smaller. So we're already like this close to selling it out. I have no doubt in my mind there's going to be a capacity in there. But I would love to do it in advance and just be like,
yeah,
fuck y'all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because especially like these bigger organizations sometimes like shit on the locals, or like maybe don't shit on them, but like don't show the locals the love that they deserve and their shine, and like they don't recognize that like the locals a lot of times are what bring people out to see the bigger people, or locals can bring out whole crowds on their own. And so I think it's awesome that you're been given that opportunity, and that you didn't even hit them up, they hit you up. I think that speaks volumes. But yeah, if you're watching, like, go buy your ticket. And you know what? Even if you're not going to go, like, buy a ticket, man. Like, here's a crazy fucking concept, right? Don't like my post, Don't reshare. Like, buy a ticket. Like, did you go out this week? If you didn't go out this week, like, go find your favorite band or DJ and buy a ticket to, like, whatever that is they're doing this weekend. You should do that every week, like, honestly. Like, fuck Starbucks. Like, especially this week. Fuck Starbucks. Like, don't get your lattes. Like, buy a ticket to, like, your favorite DJ. Buy a ticket to Footwerk this week. Go on Bandcamp and download an album for $6.
Shout
like,
out Bandcamp,
like, just throw some money at the people that you love. Like,
We're going to give our whole back catalog to everyone that comes, digital download. We're also going to play a bunch of, like, 5 new songs that we've never played live before. So either way, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be dope.
So, yeah, man. So buy your ticket. Go online now. It's at Ticketfly. If you go on Songbird's website, it's super easy to access. It's $12. I think with service fees it was like 15 and a couple pennies. I got mine earlier, even though I'm on the guest list, because that's what you fucking do.
Thank you.
So yeah, man. So shout out to Footwerk. Shout out to everybody in the band. I'll see you guys on Sunday. I'm definitely gonna come out, show some love, and have a good time with you guys, and give Chadwick a hard time.
Hell yeah.
And Celine.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you, One Love Massive. Thank you, everybody watching. We'll see y'all on Sunday.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Thank you.